My name is Ta-Neisha Marshall, and I'm so excited to do some professional development going into this new school year that is obviously going to be filled with obstacles and creative ways of keeping sure that our kids are engaged and being creative and sharing their ideas in a very productive way. And so today I'm going to be sharing with you an assignment that I have developed for this specific semester. Now, I am sure this is not original. I'm sure somewhere someone is doing this, but I'm going to share it with you, and I hope maybe you can find some time to apply it in your classroom. The reason that I'm doing it is really a catch-all. So we are going to have students who will be giving presentations on the same topic but with different restraints. And we are hoping that the outcome is we have many different styles of presentations with different creative strategies that are appropriate and effective to whatever their restraints are. And so I'm just really excited about this. I think I'm going to go ahead and do it towards the end of the semester. Again, just because it's pretty comprehensive. It will include like speaking skills. It will include informal and formal presentations. It'll include research and bias and all these different things. And so I just think it'll probably be a really just a very appropriate assignment for the end of the semester. It'll allow them to really, truly be creative. And that's what we want at the end, is them creating products that reflect themselves. So the purpose, well, again, like I said, it catches all. It's going to hit almost 80% of the frameworks for Arkansas, but we're really going to focus on the following items. One, informal and formal settings. So some of the restraints are you're in a formal setting and some are informal settings. They're also going to have to consider their audience. So some students are giving presentations to large groups or small groups or older groups or younger groups. And so it's really going to affect their strategies that they choose to take in their presentation. The next one is purpose. So each group will be assigned whether they are presenting for the purpose to persuade or to inform. So they'll be given those directives. Also, we'll look at presentation enhancement aids. I mean, visual aids play a huge role. Look at Instagram. Look at, needing to have these one-on-one connections with humans, because presentation, visual learning is very, very important. So we'll look at what they choose for their presentation to make it engaging, to make it effective and appropriate. The next two venue, they will be given that venue. So are they presenting in an auditorium, at a small table, on Google Hangout? What is going to be their venue? Last but not least, I put this in here. I'm going to talk about the importance of making time. We're going to talk a little bit about how if you're asked to come speak at an engagement and you've asked to speak for 5 minutes and you only go a minute or 2 minutes, how that really has an impact on the entire event. Same thing goes that if you've been asked to speak 5 minutes and you go 10, 15 minutes, it really might cut from other people's speaking time or just lengthen the event to what was not originally planned. So we're going to look at a lot of different things, but essentially I'm going to give them a lot of creative outlets for them to have very unique experiences. So let's look just in a nutshell. Students will be given one topic. I will give them what venue they're going to perform it at, who their audience is going to be, and whether their purpose is to inform or persuade. Now, going about the lesson, we're going to look at different teaching strategies that are going to be used in this assignment. So there are going to be 3. The first one will be the teacher. So you will be responsible for front-loading the basic concepts that you want to focus on. For myself, informal, formal venue, purpose to inform or persuade, and audience analysis will be very key. I hope that I will have covered like some performance criteria or curriculum prior to this assignment, but I can always, go ahead and front load that over here where the teacher front loads basic concepts. So before you even give the assignment, make sure your students understand some of the concepts that you want to look for or you'll be discussing. The second teaching strategy is right here, where teams will actually use their own analysis and background information to create strategies that they haven't been taught. How many times have we done professional development where we're like, man, I've been doing that for quite some time. However, I never knew a name for it or a specific strategy or even how to better apply it. That is what we're looking for our students. We want our students to draw from background information, from a great guest speaker they heard from to a bad guest speaker. We've all had them, who taught them what not to do. We want them to draw from personal experiences, maybe hearing, sermons from the church or being involved in community engagements and being able to draw to see what really worked for them as a student, as an audience member, and to apply that. So we don't want to limit the strategies too much because we want each team to provide their own interpretation, development, and analysis of what they think is appropriate for the restraints that they're given. Now, of course, I mentioned before, and it's listed there again, based on venue, audience analysis, and purpose. Now, the third teaching strategy that's going to come out is as every team watches the other teams, they're going to peer evaluate them. And you'll create a document for them to be able to evaluate each group, but they will also have to defend their own presentation. So after the team gives their presentation on, let's say, like I'm going to use the example of voting, the importance of voting, they're going to do it and they're going to say, these are the strategies we used because this was our audience and we felt it was appropriate. Then the class is going to raise their hand and ask questions. Why didn't you do this? Did you consider that? And that will continue the learning process and allow everyone to engage in the learning process. At the end, too, your students are going to do self-evaluations to see exactly, reflecting on how I did, what level do I think I took this project to? And the learning experience should start from the very first day that there's front loading to going to the group analysis and then going to the peer evaluation and self-evaluation and reflection to really feel how well did I do at analyzing this situation. So we have a lot of problem solving going on in this assignment. Now, the purpose of this assignment, I believe we went over this already. Sorry. Let's go on to the next part. So what you're going to do, this is really important for this assignment to work, is you're going to select one topic only. That one topic is for that class period. Now, if you want to do different topics for each class period, that's up to you. But everyone in the class should have the same topic so they can differentiate the different approaches depending on what the restraints were given. I'm going to go ahead and select voting. I'm not going to make it controversial. I don't want them to speak about which way to vote. It's just the process of civic duty, the process of voting in general. So each team of 3 will be given manipulations. So as you can see over here, team 1, their venue will be an auditorium. Their audience is going to be high school seniors, who should be becoming of age to vote. And their purpose is going to persuade them to either register, or however that team wants to take it, to register or just vote or whatnot. Team 2 will have the venue of the classroom. Their audience is going to be 5th graders. Like, you're talking about attention spans. They can learn things, but attention span's pretty short. Their purpose is to inform. So they're really going to have to take into consideration the room, the kids, how long they have with those kids to keep them engaged, and some strategies to really create some excitement. Team 3 will have a roundtable. Their audience will be new American citizens. And so these will be people who just passed their citizenship. Their purpose is going to be to encourage them, to persuade them to vote and to be engaged. Obviously, this is a small group. Language barriers may be there. Maybe some anxiety may be there. They need to really understand their audience in order to be able to give important information that they can understand. Now, Team 4 is going to have a venue of a Google Hangout. I'm going to throw some technology in there. I'm terrible at it, but I will grow with my students. Their audience is going to be college freshmen, incoming freshmen, and their purpose will be to inform. Now, the one thing I want you to notice is that these people doing the Google Hangout with college freshmen to inform is going to be different than the kids who are going to a classroom to inform fifth graders. And they're both meant to inform, but it should look very different. Team 3 and Team 1 are both there to persuade. They have very different groups with very different venues, very different. So you're going to see a different presentation. We should be able to extract some great creativity, some great problem solving without too much guidance, right? And that's where I'm talking about that front loading. Give them just the bricks they need. Just give them what they need to understand the assignment and let creativity, analysis, and problem solving take the lead on this assignment. Now let's look at the presentation itself. You need to explain to them that they need to make their goals and the expectations of the audience, and everything should be drawn from there. So the speech requirements. Well, one, I'm going to put my kids into groups of 3. The reason is I want to still be able to social distance at the front of the classroom when they give their presentation. I feel 3 is probably a max for my comfort level. Also, I want you guys to know, sorry, I got a little bit itch there. I want you guys to know that I have asked my department to purchase microphones that will fit around the neck. They're on Google, they're on Amazon, and they're about $34 each. And this will allow students to still present with masks, if they feel comfortable with that, if I feel comfortable with that, if I want my kids to keep their masks on. Also, it's going to help with instruction. Guys, we're communication instructors, and I just want to make sure that my instruction is clear. So that's just a side note. The students will wear these neck, not pin-ons, but these things that fit around the neck. I should be able to get a Lysol wipe and just wipe that down and keep it clean. Students will engage through Google Docs, Google Slides, and Google Hangouts for team communication. And some of that may have to be learned. I know some of the teachers are going to have to learn this, but so we'll do our best to develop that through the semester, hopefully so. I am going to take my kids out of the classroom to go and do this teamwork. One, I do not feel comfortable doing teamwork in my classroom. I don't think I can spread out my teams far enough to feel that it is safe. I'm going to go and work in the cafeteria and put them at cafeteria tables, those bigger tables, and they can work there. It's not 6 feet, but it is definitely further than what they would be in the classroom, and we'll take breaks for them to be able to move around. The limits, so the speech. So looking over here at the time limits, I am looking at 5 to 6 minutes. That allows each speaker to speak for 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes long. That gives me enough time to evaluate their speaking ability, what they contributed to the team, and so forth. They need to have appropriate visual aids. So they will have to have a speech enhancement or a visual aid of some kind to show me that they understand their audience and what they might need to better understand the material they're providing. Last but not least, I'm going to require 8 parts of speech, a speech outline that will be typed and turned into me. This will be provided earlier in the assignment so that, one, I can see attention getter, thesis, purpose, preview, body, restate, thesis, review, final thought. I see that they know how to put together a nice, clear presentation. Also, I just want to make sure they're on the right track. So if I can look at that speech outline, then I can tell that they're on the right track. Also, they'll be able to attribute which part was to who, just to make sure that there's adequate teamwork going on. So that will be turned in as one, not separately by student to student, but it'll be turned in as a team, and they'll work on that together through Google Docs. Last but not least, so let's go ahead and look at evaluations. I am not here to give professional development on rubrics. Oh my word, that is the thing I need to work on the most. I'm great at excitement. I'm great at creativity. Gosh, I'm terrible at the numbers. And so I'm just going to tell you in general how this assignment should be evaluated. The teacher's responsibility. We want to make sure that we are evaluating throughout the entire process. So at the beginning, I am going to evaluate their teamwork and the outline that they give me. I'm going to look at who's doing what. I'm going to watch the team as they progress and make sure and guide. Like they need guidance, not just, looking into a fishbowl. They need guidance to make sure that they're working well as a team. At 2, then I'm going to evaluate them on presentation style and strategies used for the professional speech. And again, you guys can choose what of those frameworks that you want to include in that evaluation. If you show mastery or what your evaluation looks like, just make sure that you include those during the presentation time. And the defense, remember, the students get to defend why they chose the strategies they chose. And last, there needs to be a follow-up instructional period after all the presentations go on to talk about what worked and what didn't work and why, and maybe even to identify some of the strategies that people came up with and say, hey, this is whatever this is card stacking, and they really wanted you to see that whatever it is, you need to go and review everything that was learned, because we are giving so much creative ground. We're giving so much development and analysis for kids to use. We have to go back and evaluate and review and process what we've learned. Now, on the student side, they're going to be doing a peer evaluation on a document that should be provided by the teacher. So, please evaluate as the presentations are going on. They also need to have the chance to do a self-evaluation on their weaknesses and strengths in A, group work, B, presentation style, and C, the strategies that they use. They need to be able to really reflect on how well they thought they did. Some are not so good at the group work, but they're like, man, I really gave some great ideas. I practiced really hard at home for the presentation. So we really need to be giving them the opportunity to reflect on these items. Last but not least, I'm going to say this is really important. Have an exit ticket after the follow-up instruction for understanding, to make sure that as we leave, we all leave with this wealth of information that was given to us from our teacher and our peers, that came through creativity and analysis and defense. And we just want to make sure that everyone is getting what they need to get out of this assignment. This is what I'm going to do at the end of the semester. I'm really big into students having ownership over their assignments and their work. I think I give them enough restraints that it kind of funnels them a bit, but gives them enough freedom to really have great ideas come to the table. Allow our students to express themselves while still being given enough guidance to maintain the assignment. Anyways, I am always here. My email is at the top of this PowerPoint, which I guess will probably be attached as well. And feel free to reach out to me. Also, I am so welcoming any of you guys who come up with a rubric for this. Whoop, whoop, please share. If you are good at putting out like clear instructions typed, please share. I am such a person who stands at the front of the room and just says, get a pen and pencil and write this down because this is what we're doing. I think this is a great assignment that has a lot of opportunity for change and your own creative spin on it. But overall, I think it will be a fun last assignment that will allow students to work together and really use all the skills that they had collected throughout the semester. So I'm going to go ahead and end. This is Castify. If you guys use it, I'm using that. It's a great way to use for your Google Classroom if you need to use recordings. But again, if you need to reach me, tmarshall at bentonvillek12.org. And I hope to be seeing your lovely faces soon. All right. Bye, guys. Have a great year.